Hi, today I wanted to show you my process from start to finish. I have some new prisms that arrived recently and I want to test them out. I'm gonna go to the beach and yeah, I'll show you what I'm doing and then I'll show you how I'm editing. So I have that and then a whole new folder of Cokin prisms, and then I have this little bag that my earrings arrived in, and I think that's going to work really well. And yeah, I'll probably make a separate video for video editing, but yeah.
So this one is Diffractor Universe, and this is what it looks like, not pointed directly at the sun, more in the shade, but towards the source of light. And then this is what it looks like directly pointed at the sun. I prefer the first effect, just not as intense. This one is Portrait Soft Spot, and as you can see it has a clear spot in the middle and then blurriness around. It doesn't have any tint to it, it's just kind of like a blurry glow. Then this one is called Champagne, and it's kind of like the Portrait Soft Spot, except that it also has like a peach tint to it, which is really nice. And so you have that clear spot in the middle. And then this one is just full tint. It's called Sepia. And then yeah, I like to hold them in my hand so then I can manipulate them, and even if something is like just one color, you can still manipulate the intensity by moving it at a different angle. This one is Gradual or Grad to Back, which is quite a similar color, but you have the gradual tint, and then you can manipulate how much of that gradient you want. Especially in a small iPhone lens, like this is all filmed with an iPhone, you've got quite a bit of choice. On a bigger lens, it will cover more of it. And this is just a little red bag, and yeah, as expected, it's quite intense, but it is interesting, especially when you see the shadows of the people here. And this one is Gradual Blue, so the same as Gradual to Back, just with a blue tint. It can be really useful in this case, like you could just apply it on the sea side to enhance the color of the sea, or yeah, you can just turn it around, see kind of what you want to do with it. And the last one is Starfire 8, I think. And this just came in a set. It's not my favorite, but yeah, I mean, maybe I'll find something to do with it at some point. So now we're back in front of the computer. It is 2 months later, but we don't talk about that. Yeah, and I showed you in the previous clips what those new prisms look like. And now I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on editing and sort of tell you what I do. But just a couple of disclaimers. For me, it's a multi-step process and I never really do the same thing. And I do believe that developing your own style or your own process is very important. And obviously there are people who have a very specific process that they always repeat. But for me, it's sort of just like back and forth, sometimes I'll have these Cokin filters, sometimes I'll grab a glass from the cupboard. Sometimes you can just pick up something you have lying around the house, like packaging, something transparent, and experiment with that, and then edit it further. It's a very fluid process. Okay, we can move on to actual editing. The first thing I'm gonna do, in this case, I will go into Adobe Lightroom. I've recently created presets. If I'm using just my iPhone, I need to do like a basic edit on them that will then allow me to work on them further in Photoshop if I want to. Sometimes I just leave them like that, and it saves me time. I'm not saying you need to purchase my presets. I'm just saying I do use them. I'll also show you how you could edit it without the presets. Also, if you're not that good at Photoshop, you know, that's always going to help you. So I've opened that day at the beach. I quite like this one. I can either crop it now or I'll crop it in Photoshop in a bit. I'll probably do that. But yeah, as you can see here, the Deja Vu really brings that photo to life. It gives it a lot more of a real dreamy feel. I think this would be good enough for me to take it into Photoshop. In this case, I probably wouldn't really have to change much. I don't want it to become too overly contrasting, overly saturated, which is always something that you have to watch out for when using these harsh prisms, intense colors. Okay, so now I've opened a couple of the photos that I showed you. Here we have this one, the basic one, the way it is straight out of my iPhone. And then here's the one with the pre-edit. As you can see, I think the difference is pretty big. So with this one, I made both of them. I definitely crop them. At least that, to not have this distracting shadow silhouette on the side. Yeah, definitely make sure you make even those little changes, like cropping things that just don't need to be there, that distract from the main view. One of the things that I like to do is to use different overlays and textures. I've been collecting textures, materials, stock, that kind of stuff for years now, probably 10 years. The way you can source them is either by finding good public domain pictures or buying different texture packs. You can make your own textures. I'm gonna prepare a little pack as well. I've pre-selected a few here. I have folders and folders of them. So in this case, we have one that's already has that pre-edit from Lightroom, and then we have the same photo that doesn't have anything. So we have to do something like that as well in here. So I would start with just the basic curves. To me, that is the quickest, but you can do a lot more specific edits in curves than just focusing on shadows and highlights. But yeah, so we start with like a basic contrast. What we could do as well, I'm gonna turn it off, and you could find another photo from the same set that is similar, ideally one with no subject. So like this one. So you can import that on top of this photo and play around with blending modes, and that could create the same kind of more contrasting feel. Obviously we're gonna have to erase the second sun and all that, so you do soft light and then rasterize layer. We find our eraser. We have to make it a little bit bigger because it doesn't cover the full photo. And the eraser already has the opacity turned down. Has the hardness 0%. And then we erase. I'm using a trackpad, so yeah, this is not very comfortable. But yeah, you don't want to have like harsh eraser strokes, like big pieces that would be missing, so got to do it kind of smooth. I'm not doing it as carefully now, and then could tone down the intensity, could combine with curves, so that's just curves alone, that's with this. Yeah, so we could combine, and as you can see, kind of similar. This one still, this one has more grain, so the next step would be to apply a grain of some sorts. I've only, I have a lot more different grains, but I've imported only a couple here, so we'll see if they will work. Or a paper texture sometimes can be really good too. So we will use maybe this one. It is really small, but it doesn't matter, probably in this case. If it looks bad after exporting, then, well, then I would use a different one. But, and again, into blending modes we go. Soft light looks alright, and then we turn it down. We could also Command I invert it. Definitely again turn it down, and yeah, that's like a good basic edit. Next thing I would probably do is make the light a little bit softer, and again, there's many ways of doing that, but let's do a new layer, sample the color. I don't want that real like yellow. Brush tool, turn down the opacity, okay, and turn down the size of the brush, okay, a bit bigger. I'm not gonna lie, doing this on a trackpad on a laptop is frustrating. I do not recommend. And yeah, you want it to be under the texture because you want the texture to be on top. Okay, maybe a little bit more opacity. And you can just paint like that on top. It's probably a bit too bright color-wise, but yeah, you can turn down the opacity. But I think I'll just do it again, because maybe it needs to be a little bit more yellow actually. Okay, let's try again. Yeah, that blends in more. Yeah, knowing me, I would spend a lot of time on this. So, but yeah, know that this is an option. Yeah, just turn it down. Okay, and then we could apply some other overlays. I like to use some space images to imitate the same kind of film artifact, film burn effect. It does not always work. Let me rotate. This one is pretty busy, so it won't always work on everything. It works sometimes. Lightroom works pretty well. Yeah, I probably wouldn't go for this in this case. Yeah, I'd probably erase some of them. Yeah, I could move it. I don't really want it on the subject. Okay, let's try something else. I have this overlay that I created by taking a photo of like a foil packaging. It probably won't work because again it's too busy, but you could even use it like this, but I'd still turn it down. I sometimes really like to build textures on top of each other. Oh, another thing that we could do is create like a little fake light leak, and you can again do that through overlaying existing materials. You can also purchase packs with light leaks, and then you can use different blending modes and see how they work, or you can also use your brush to kind of imitate that effect. So I might go for something like purpley maybe, and then again pretty big soft brush. Okay, and then you can just kind of paint little leaks like this. Again, kind of hard on a trackpad. Can definitely do it. And then I don't know, you could try different colors and all that, maybe just on one side. Oop. Maybe just make it smaller and really get in there. I don't know, you know, you could play around, spend hours on this. Then you could change your blending mode as well to like hard light, and it kind of makes it pop a little bit more. It's kind of more of a neon color then. Those kind of ones like linear light, pin light. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it the way it is for now. Ooh, maybe we will go hard light and put the opacity down a little bit. Okay, so yeah, I think that's enough for today. I think this video is way too long anyway. I'm probably gonna have to cut some things out, so I don't know if this makes sense. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will try to make more videos like that, but they do take time, and I am also working on a lot of different projects. But yeah, see you soon.